It's the most wonderful time of the year. Minky Couture's holiday season is here. Wrap your loved ones in the gift of luxury with our softest, coziest blankets ever. Perfect for movie nights, chilly mornings, or those magical Christmas Eve moments. From kids to grandparents, there's a Minky for everyone. Shop our exclusive holiday collection now, in-store or online at minkycouture.com. But hurry, Santa's favorites won't last long. Minky Couture, making your holidays merry, bright, and oh so cozy. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Minky Couture's holiday season is here. Wrap your loved ones in the gift of luxury with our softest, coziest blankets ever. Perfect for movie nights, chilly mornings, or those magical Christmas Eve moments. From kids to grandparents, there's a Minky for everyone. Shop our exclusive holiday collection now, in-store or online at minkycouture.com. But hurry, Santa's favorites won't last long. Minky Couture, making your holidays merry, bright, and oh so cozy.
It sounds like a convenient excuse, right? But I'm be honest with you.
He's out there with the guy going, yeah. Oh, I love that. Gotta love that.
You know, it kind of is. I've kind of tried to get an explanation of what it is they do out there for this. For those who don't know, Marcus Trufant, once he retired, he got into the storage unit business. And a lot of people might not think that's a very sexy business or a cool business for an ex-football player to get into, but it's a really lucrative business without putting, all the trade secrets out there. It's a lucrative business. And so they have these conventions and they go down there and I guess they talk about different types of locks and storage units and exactly.
Is he coming on? He's coming on at some point, right?
Yeah, we're going to call him during the next segment.
We're going to bust on him a little bit for that.
You got to.
A little bit, right?
You
for
got
that.
You got to. It is going to be, hey, listen, thank you guys for joining us, listening to us here on 950 KJR, or if you're tuned in with the iHeartRadio app around the world, we appreciate you guys here hanging out with us. It's been one hell of a week. Lots of things to talk about, Slickhawk. Definitely going to talk to Marcus Trufant in the next segment, figure out what he's doing down there in Las Vegas at the Storage Unit Convention. College football is back in swing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. It was a gangbuster first week. Looking forward to some more this week. Yeah. We're going to talk about your Ducks a little bit. Not only that, we are what? I think 23 hours away from NFL football. Oh, yes. NFL football is coming in 23 hours, and we are definitely going to talk about that and our beloved Seahawks. But before we even get started, I got to do this because it's really not the barbershop until I find out what day it is.
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
That's right. It's Hump Day, Barbershop Day, a little bit closer to Friday.
Yes.
And we are here to make sure we get you to that Friday. But there's something else I wanted to talk to you about, man, and it's really a trending thing that's really – it's been weighing on me heavily all day because I've been thinking about it all day. I've actually been thinking about it for a while. And it's really I think the number one subject in this area for sure right now. And I'll just take it back a few weeks. A few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to see a total eclipse of the sun.
Right.
Okay? It's unbelievable situation. The last few days in Seattle, I've awakened to see a bright candy apple red sun, a blazing red sun in the sky. And as I go to sleep at night, I see a blazing red moon, blood red.
Mm-hmm.
And you know the only thing I can think of?
It's the end of the world as we know it.
It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world, Slickhawk. I feel like the end of the world is coming, man. We've got a total eclipse. We've had red moons, red suns. We've had 3 of the most incredible hurricanes in the history of the world back to back to back.
Yeah.
What? I'm nervous. I'm scared. I don't know what to do, man.
Well, there's fires, there's hurricanes, ash on the car. Our beautiful Seattle skyline has been obscured, smoke and all that. It's easy to think that, but also, there's some real world stuff going on too. That's pretty upsetting as far as all that goes, and so it's just a lot going on right now. In terms of natural disasters and all that. It's just not good.
And I wanted to start the show off with that little kind of give us a little what you call it, levity, or just a little reprieve, because I know the entire Pacific Northwest, and really for that matter, the entire country is kind of on edge and on nerve. And it's about a subject that has really taken place over the last 12, 16 hours, I would think, that has come to our attention that deals with one of our very own Seahawk players here, Micheal Bennett. And it has caused a lot of controversy, caused a lot of uproar, caused a lot of people to be really on edge. And we are definitely going to cover that subject here tonight. I didn't want to jump right in off the cuff and jump into it right away because I want to give that conversation its just due. I want to give it, the long segment. So I'll make sure you guys stay tuned at the top of the hour. Slickhawk and I are going to go into detail about what we feel about the Micheal Bennett situation. So stay tuned. And because I was listening to the radio all day, Slick, and I listened to you on the radio first thing in the morning. By the way, if you guys don't know Slickhawk, he stays in this building. I think he has a hammock in the back somewhere. He's on every single show that I tune in on random times and I just catch him. But I listen to you, and I listen to a lot of different radio stations, believe it or not, and I watch a lot of different media around this area. And so I was watching it today, and I was thinking to myself, how in the world do I duplicate what these guys are doing when it comes to discussing this Micheal Bennett subject? How do I get a black guy to come on my show and talk about Micheal Bennett? Because every single show seemed like they had to go out and get a black guy to get their opinion on Micheal Bennett.
Uh-huh.
So we're fortunate tonight. We're going to have two black guy opinions.
Which is different. I mean, that's different. You're not going to get that too many places, I don't think, around the Northwest.
You're not going to get it. So make sure you stay tuned here to that. One thing that happened this past week that I was involved with, Slick, and it was really cool to be involved in this. Jamal Crawford, NBA superstar, Seattle's very own, Rainier Beach graduate, guy's sixth man of the year, three times?
Might have been three, yeah.
I guess three times. And
by the way, NBA record holder for the most 4-point plays.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I just know he's really good. He's ridiculously good to not be what most consider an elite basketball. And in my mind, he's an elite basketball player. You make sixth man of the year, you're an elite basketball player.
Yeah.
But he's also very in tune with the community here in Seattle. He's very supportive of his community, and he's always giving back. And this past week, he reached out to me because he was doing something that was not just affecting the community here, but he was being affected by the hurricane tragedy that took place in South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted to reach out to all Seattleites, all Western Washington, and say, we're going to do something special for those people. And he said, we're going to do a drive where we want supplies. I don't want any money because everybody's asking for money. Like, and that's not bad because they absolutely need money.
Oh, sure. Right? I mean, J.J. Watt's raised over $20 million, down in Houston. And, of course, that's going to the victims, and that's going to, probably help rebuild homes and getting supplies and medical aid and all that to people who need it. So money is very important. Any donation I think that people make to help in terms of Hurricane Harvey and then looking ahead to Irma and what's going to happen there, all that's very important. Whatever people can do.
Absolutely. But I know that a lot of people get kind of, iffy when it comes to sending money to some of these charities because they don't know where it's going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jamal took that into consideration. He said, listen, this is what we're going to do. I have 2 trucks, and they're going to head down to Texas. I don't want any money. I want you guys to come through with supplies as far as hygienical supplies.
Yeah.
And it just struck me. I was like, most people don't think of that. Like,
sure.
You think if you're in a situation, you're in a hurricane where all of your supplies are gone. You don't have access to running water. You don't have access to drinking water. You don't have access to a razor to save your face or soap to wash your body.
Mm-hmm.
Just the small things could just make the complete difference in a situation like that. And so that's what we did. We went and they filled up 2 trucks full of hygiene supplies and shipped it off to Texas.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's really good.
And some of your favorite Seahawks were down there. Cliff Averill was down there and Bobby Wagner. So I just wanted to put that out there because I wanted you guys to understand that, you see these guys every weekend, every Sunday or Monday night running into people full speed and it kind of takes the human edge or the human element out of it when there's a face mask. There's a face mask that separates you from these guys, and a television or the stands. These guys are human, man, and they know that people are going through something, and they're out there willing to help. And again, it's way in Seattle, sending stuff to people in Texas, and I just felt good about that, man.
Well, the Seahawks and this community in general, this sports community, is filled with athletes who are tremendous people who have an excellent sense of ways they can give back to society and ways they can help, even in the wake of a tragedy like what's happened down in Texas. And we're fortunate, athletes, those stories aren't always told.
Right.
And, there's a few reasons for that. I mean, it's not the sexy headline that necessarily drives the TV ratings or whatever. But B, and I think this is most importantly, it's hard for, if you're somebody who's doing these efforts, I mean, you're not going to want to toot your own horn,
right?
About
right.
what you've done, because then that just seems disingenuous.
Right.
But so it's important for us to kind of seek these things out and promote what these athletes are doing when they're doing the right things, because so many of our athletes are doing the right things, and we get so caught up in the ones that sometimes do the wrong things. But that shouldn't detract from all these great efforts that Seattle athletes and athletes all across the country make.
And I think that's what we do here at the Barbershop. That was one of our goals in the beginning, was saying, we see enough of the athletes that do the wrong things. That's everywhere. We see the guys when they get pulled over for the DUI. We see the guys that get caught for using performance enhancement drugs. We see the guys when they get, arrested for domestic violence. We don't always see the guys when they go out there and raise money for the homeless, or they're going out there handing out blankets and gloves and socks to these people, or going to make sure these kids have supplies at school. And, that's why I'm here, to help get that message out to the people. And since my co-host is not here, I want to make sure I get the message out to the people that they are having the 13th annual Trufant Family Foundation Bowling and Billiards Classic on October 2nd. And they have all your favorite Seahawks come out there, sign autographs, take pictures. Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, Cliff Averill have been there. I've had Marshawn Lynch there in the past. It's been a great event, 13th annual. They've been doing it for 13
already.
years.
I've gone to this event many times over the years. It's a fun event. It's a great cause, obviously. But yeah, it's a blast to do.
Yeah, absolutely is. And make sure you go to TrufantFamilyFoundation.com to get your registration taken care of. Hey, listen, when we come back, we're actually going to talk to Marcus Trufant, who is down in Las Vegas right now at the Storage Unit Convention, and find out what's going on down there, and find out, what it was like for him when he played his first regular season football game, like the Seahawks are going to play this weekend. Only here on 950 KJR. It's the Barbershop.
I got my city doing front flips.
Now back to the Barbershop, brought to you by Trufant Auto Detail and by the Trufant Family Foundation on Seattle Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Welcome back to the Barbershop Show here on Sports Radio 950 KJR. It's me, T. Holla. Marcus Trufant is in Las Vegas at a storage unit convention.
What is that? What is a storage unit convention? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask him here in just a second, because we're going to get him on the line to tell us really what's happening down there in Las Vegas. I know he's in the storage unit business, but we got to figure out what they do at a convention.
Absolutely.
Storage units.
I mean, do they have a meeting? Do they all get together and decide storage unit rules? I mean, do they extend like the period, from like 30 days to 35 days, right?
Yes.
Until that storage unit becomes up for auction. How does that work?
Do they stand around inside storage units and measure them out? Who knows? We're going to find out here in just a minute. We want to thank you guys for joining us here on the Barbershop. Stay tuned, because we are going to have an in-depth conversation about Micheal Bennett and what took place with him recently in Las Vegas. Get our take on it. We want to hear from you guys, too, as well. 49451. Text us here at the station. We want to know what's on your mind. Give us your take on Micheal Bennett. As well, tonight we are going to take your questions in a segment that we call Holla Holla. It's where you guys get to holla at us with any questions you might have, whether it's sports-related, current events-related, personal. Well, you could ask Slickhawk some personal questions.
Why can't they ask you
It's
personally?
off limits for me, man.
No.
Once you reach a certain age limit, it's off limits. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is T. Holla not your name?
No, I don't know. I don't have.
I mean, that's what they call you, and your name is in the segment. I would feel like you of all people, there should be no off limits when it comes to that.
Okay, I'm open book.
All right,
let's have it.
Let's do it.
Any questions you want? 49451. Let's hear about it. But right now, we have my co-host, Marcus Trufant joining us live from Las Vegas from the Storage Unit Convention.
Sounds really fun.
True, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? It's crazy down here. It's wild, bro. It's out of control, man. What's up, T?
Well,
It's
there's
out of
locks
control.
flying right and left, people auctioning things off. They don't know what to do. It's a big party.
What's going on, y'all?
True, man. We have been sitting here wondering and debating, and honestly, Slickhawk he's the one that's been really asking all the questions about it. What goes on at a Storage Unit Convention?
Well, you know what, man? There's a lot of stuff that goes on at a storage unit convention. If you think about a storage unit and a storage building, there's a bunch of different things that make up the building. Of course, you got the doors, you got the steel of the building, you got the elevators, you got the stairs, you got the concrete.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
Hey, man, I'm grown, and you just don't cut me off like that? I'm a grown man doing business, brother. There's a lot that goes into the business, man. And you can grow your business. You can meet potential partners and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good look, man, all the way around. But, yeah, man, it's in Las Vegas, man. And these storage people, they know how to party. But we do business first.
Well, we wanted to know, are you down there with the guys from the Storage Unit Wars? Is that, I mean...
No, we don't hang out with those guys. No, we don't hang out with those guys.
They kind of
We
prima
are telling
donnas.
people, but we don't want people to think that we're just kicking them out their units and we're selling their stuff. We want you to stay in your unit, and of course, we want you to pay for them. So that's what we're trying to do.
So what you're doing right now is giving us a free advertisement for Trufant Storage. Make sure you come to Trufant, and we'll keep your stuff. We won't sell it. We'll keep it.
Right, and it won't be my storage because I don't want my people from T-Town trying to call me, trying to get discounts and all that. So you can come to a storage that I'm involved with, but you'll never know which one I'm involved with. But I'm down here dealing with the people from Extra Space Storage. I like what they do. I've been working with them for a long time, so I give a shout-out to Extra Space.
True is like the Kaiser Sose of storage units, man. You never know you're dealing with him because he's the guy in black. You never know he's there. True, let's get off the storage unit for a minute, man. Let's talk a little football while we got you. It's been a while since we've done Back in the Day. We actually haven't done it since we've been on this year, since the season started, because the season hasn't started yet. So
okay.
We want to go back in the day with Marcus Trufant. That's where we go and get some true live tale stories from a guy who spent 10 years in an NFL locker room, all with the Seattle Seahawks. So here we go with Marcus Trufant back in the day.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again.
Marcus Trufant, brother. I got to ask you a question, man. It wasn't that long ago when you were just a rookie coming out of Washington State University.
It was kind of long. Okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But can you remember what it was like, man, the first day suiting up, putting on those pads, and taking the field in your first regular season professional game?
Man, a lot of people don't know this, and I'm going to take it back to, like, training camp, and I take it back to OTAs. And, you know, you go to the combine, and you do all your workouts, and, of course, all your good stuff, and then you get drafted, and then you get a chance to go home. So I went home, and I thought I was doing what was good enough to get me ready and prepared for the training camp. But a lot of people don't know I failed my first conditioning test with the Seattle Seahawks. The first draft pick of the 2003 draft of the Seattle Seahawks, their first rounder failed their conditioning test.
Oh, poor
So
True.
that's how it started. That's how it started.
Well,
But
for Mike Holmgren.
yes, for Mike Holmgren.
Now,
It's
when
a big
you
show.
when you
And I don't even know
went
if he
into
knows
his
about
office,
this.
when you went into his office and he had to give you that information, you had that conversation. What did his face look like?
And that's the thing. I never really got a call, and nobody really said anything. It kind of just passed by. So that made me even more nervous.
Oh, God.
And that, it kind of pushes me forward to the regular season. As I'm out there on the field and I'm suiting up and I'm getting ready, I'm hearing stuff from the crowd like, Trufant, you better be this and you better be that. And we drafted you first round. So I'm really nervous, man. I'm really nervous. And at that point, I didn't really feel as cool because as a rookie, they wouldn't give you all the cool stuff to look cool out on the field, like the extra tape and the extra towels and the right gloves and all
the
that
baggy
kind of stuff.
jersey.
So I'm out there feeling like Urkel. I'm kind of, I kind of got the baggy pants. My pants is pulled up a little too high, and it just didn't work out. So I just remember it being a lot of pressure, man. And my first play, I was taken on the block, man, and I really got depleted. And I think that woke me up, though. I think that woke me up. I got ran over. I was lifted off the ground by an offensive lineman, and that was my intro into the NFL.
Right on. Real quick.
And then Urkel Trufant said, "Did I do that?"
Something like that. Something like that.
Before we let you go, True, one more back in the day question now. The Seahawks are going to Green Bay to face the Packers in Lambeau Field. We all know that, it's a storied, fabled stadium. It's the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. What was your experience like on Lambeau Field? What was just one experience you can remember of playing in Lambeau Field?
Well, the experience in Lambeau Field, of course, you're driving through a town that's just like a residential area. It doesn't even look like a stadium is supposed to be back there in the town like that. And then, of course, when you get off the bus, I know it's not deep into winter yet, but the times I've played there, it's been very cold. And I was told by some of the older guys, they had all these tricks to the trade about how to keep your toes and your fingers warm. So, we would take Vaseline, we would take baby powder, and we would take cayenne pepper. At least that's what they told me. And put that in our socks.
I think they made a
put
fool
that in
out
our
of you.
gloves, and that's supposed to keep you warm. Did it work? Absolutely not. But that's really one of the things that sticks out. And it was always so cold, man. We used to sit on the bench, of course, for as long as you could, and you get off and you go play. But it's playing in the cold is one of those things that you got to get through, and you just make it happen. I, for one, I've never been good in the cold, so I was ready to get off the field as soon as I got there. Go Hawks.
Yeah, go Hawks. Fortunately for these Hawks right here, they're not going to have that cold weather this weekend. Hey, True, thank you for calling us. I know you got a busy schedule. You probably got Combination Locks 101 coming up at 7:05. Is that meeting coming
That's
up?
next. Right,
Okay.
right.
So we don't want to hold you up, but we'll catch you next week when you get back to town, bro.
I appreciate it, y'all.
Man, thank you for joining us, man.
Come on.
Do you know
it's not the combination locks anymore. This is 2017. It's the electronic keypad.
Well, I don't know. I'm old school, man. I
understand.
gotta get a storage unit, I guess.
I understand, but that's why they have these conventions, so they can agree on what technology to use and make it standard across the country.
And now you know. I'll be honest with you. I honestly don't know anything more about storage unit conventions than I did an hour ago.
To me, right now, it's Dungeons and Dragons inside a storage unit. As far as I know, that's what that is right there.
That's all that is. Hey, listen, when we come back, Slickhawk and I are going to dive deep into this Micheal Bennett controversy. We want to hear from you guys, too. 49451, text us in what your opinion on it is. It's the Barbershop here on Sports Radio.
Got nothing but love for you. Do you think, boy?
Now back to the Barbershop, brought to you by Trufant Auto Detail and by the Trufant Family Foundation on Seattle Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Welcome back to the Barbershop Show here on Sports Radio 950 KJR. It's me, T. Holla. I'm in here with my man Slickhawk, who is filling in for Marcus Trufant, who was in Las Vegas, Nevada today for a storage unit convention.
Can't say that enough times.
I know. I really cannot. I wish I could say it over, and I wish I had it on repeat. Wish I had a recording of it so I could just click it. I may do that when he comes back. But he's down there taking care of business. That's what he does in his retirement, is run businesses. So he's down there taking care of business. So we are here taking care of the business of sports in the city of Seattle. Thank you all for joining us. It is a beautiful it's 7:10 already. Time is flying by.
I guess so.
Pretty close, right? I would say it's beautiful, but it's not beautiful outside. It's moggy and foggy and muggy and dirty, and it's just a bad vibe in the air right now, man.
A lot going on. Just a constant reminder, I guess, of the darkness maybe that we're all feeling right now.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of natural disasters or because of a news story that broke today that's hitting a little bit closer to home as far as all of us as Seahawks fans.
Yeah, this story that broke today, and again, I've been listening to you on the air since early this morning, and it's just been, I think this is really, if it's not the story of the day, it's the story of the year in football, I would say for sure. One of the biggest stories I've heard in a long time, especially when you're talking about the person that it deals with. If you have been in a cave or under a rock or somewhere hiding and have not heard this story yet, Seattle Seahawks defensive lineman superstar Micheal Bennett was involved in an altercation a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the Las Vegas Police Department, immediately following the Floyd Mayweather-Conor McGregor fight. And apparently there were some reports of an active shooter in a nightclub, casino situation down there.
People thought they heard gunfire.
Yep. The people heard gunfire, and there was a big melee. People were running and screaming, and that's what people do when you hear gunshots.
Smart.
Yeah. And apparently, and it went unbeknownst to anyone in Seattle, anyone that I knew that maybe even knows Micheal Bennett. No, it wasn't made public, but he felt like something happened to him that was unfair. And I'm just going to read his statement, because this is what happened to me. I woke up this morning and I read the statement at about 7 o'clock this morning. And it says, and again, this is from Micheal Bennett, Dear World. On Saturday, August 26, 2017, I was in Las Vegas to attend the Mayweather-McGregor fight on my day off. After the fight, while heading back to my hotel, several hundred people heard what sounded like gunshots. Like many of the people in the area, I ran away from the sound, looking for safety. Las Vegas police officers singled me out and pointed their guns at me for doing nothing more than simply being a black man in the wrong place at the wrong time. A police officer ordered me to get on the ground. As I laid on the ground, complying with his commands to not move, he placed his gun near my head and warned me that if I moved, he would blow my bleeping head off. Terrified and confused by what was taking place, a second officer came over and forcefully jammed his knee into my back, making it difficult for me to breathe. They then clenched handcuffs on my wrists so tight that my fingers went numb. It went on to explain how unbearable this was, and that he felt like he was in a real life, life-threatening situation. All he could think of was, I'm going to die for no other reason than I'm black, and the color of my skin is somehow a threat. My life flashed before my eyes as I thought of my girls. Would I ever play with them again, or watch them have kids, or be able to kiss my wife again and tell her I love her? It goes on and on. It just details the story. And I just want to ask you, Slickhawk.
Yeah.
As you heard that story this morning for the first time, or you read it for the first time, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, it's hard not to get angry when you read something like that. I'm sure there was some measure of anger, but I think the overwhelming thought in my head was certainly not one of surprise, just because these are stories that you hear, you read about, you see on the news sometimes, more on social media than anything. But more and more often we're hearing stories like this. Now, most of the time it's not from somebody who's so high profile.
Right.
And, it's interesting because when you have a situation like this with, it could be anybody, and now we know there are names that we know from different police incidents. We know the names Eric Garner and Tamir Rice and Philando Castile. But when it happens to people like that, in people's minds, they're just people, and
right.
So we see these stories come out, we hear the details, and we have certain opinions, and then things go away. It's never anybody with such a high profile and somebody that is in the middle of advocating for trying to change these kinds of behaviors. And I think that, look, I wouldn't wish this upon anybody, but if it was going to happen to somebody, I am glad that Micheal Bennett is somebody who is able to take the brunt of this full on, was already in the midst of a protest to try and fight these kinds of actions, has the platform to make it known that these kinds of things do happen, and now you see the whole media storm that's surrounded him and this incident in the last 12 hours or so.
Now, it's funny when you say that, you think that Micheal Bennett was the perfect guy for this to happen to. That kind of probably it shocks a lot of people when you say that.
Well,
and
you phrase it that way.
No.
And it's just, I wouldn't want this to happen to anybody.
Right.
If it has to happen to somebody, let it be somebody with this platform. Let it be somebody as strong as Micheal Bennett that can handle this and that can go and turn around and react to this, that can benefit people following.
And this is why I said it sounds crazy, because when you say that originally, I thought the same thing, but I thought it for a different reason other than the fact that he has the platform and he's doing this thing like this. I thought, what if it was just another guy in the NFL that, we already think that guy's a thug, or we think that guy, he's been in trouble in college before, or he's had an issue with the law before. We're talking about Micheal Bennett here, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever impression you might have of him on the field as some tough guy, some renegade defensive lineman that goes around smashing quarterbacks into pieces, what you need to know about this guy is he is a father, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. He's a son. He's a brother. He's a guy that has never, ever been in trouble.
Right.
At all. You know what I'm saying? He's a guy that advocates for everyone across the board. It's not when he steps out and does these things, he says it's not for black people or black men or to protest the police. He says, I'm fighting for equality across the board, whether it's sexism, racism, homophobic, or whatever it might be. His foundation donates money and helps to fight childhood obesity and diabetes. So this is a guy he keeps his nose clean and still finds himself in this situation. So when my immediate thoughts, when I first saw the story, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was fake. I thought I was reading something from The Onion. Like I'm being dead honest. When I read it and somebody sent it to me, I was like, this is fake. This can't be real. Because how ironic is that? How much more of a perfect storm could you get? The guy that's advocating for equality, for people who are being oppressed, or for people who are having problems with the authorities, to be in a situation like this. I think, like, if I wrote a book, I'm trying to think, if I wrote a book about how to not get struck by lightning,
right,
and I go outside right now and I get struck by lightning.
Pretty ironic, isn't it?
That's ironic. That's crazy to me. So that was my immediate thought. So my other question that I have, I got so many questions, and it's just so difficult to have this conversation with a guy like yourself, Slickhawk, because I know that you and I think a lot alike on this situation. Sure. So in this conversation, I may be playing the devil's advocate a couple of times, because what I've done over the course of my time in being and doing the barbershop and being online and navigating through our barbershop website and our page is I've made the mistake of reading the comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I've done it too. It doesn't always, leave you walking away with warm fuzzies.
It really doesn't.
When you read the comments.
It really doesn't, especially when you're talking to people who are 12s and fans of the Seahawks, and you see them say stuff about this man, that you wouldn't say about your worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? Talking about degrading him on his race. He should just hang it up anyways. He's a snowflake. I'm reading some of the text board right now. They're calling Micheal Bennett a snowflake. He should hang it up. My question again is, how do you feel when you see that? And for one, and number two, have you ever been in a situation yourself when you've been profiled?
Firstly, to answer your first question, when I see responses like that, I just try to keep in mind that, everybody in 2017, everybody has a keyboard, everybody has a smartphone, and everybody has an opinion. Right. And just because there are people who are more vocal, who want to voice those opinions and are negative, that doesn't mean they're the majority. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that that's how most people here or across the country feel. It's just they're the loudest and most vocal. Mm-hmm. Because, you know what? Because they feel like they have something to say that's not being said. It's not being said because that's not how most people think. Yeah. That's not how most people think. As far as myself being profiled, the biggest, I guess the most glaring incident I can talk about was when I was a teenager. I was 16, 17 years old, working at a Dairy Queen in Hillsboro, Oregon, and I didn't have a car at the time. I rode a bike to work after school and then back home. And one time it was late at night. It was 10:30, something like that, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I just closed the store, and I was riding my bike home, and I got pulled over. As much as you can on a bicycle. I was riding on the sidewalk, but the cops, they came and put on the sirens. After that point, they asked me what I was doing. I was placed on the curb. I was placed in handcuffs while they searched me, while they searched my backpack. They couldn't believe that I was just on my way home, minding my own business, not doing anything wrong. So right there, I felt like I was certainly being profiled. Mm-hmm. Then I was issued a ticket for not riding my bike in the bike lane that didn't exist. There was no bike lane, but I got a ticket for not riding in the bike lane. So yeah, I was profiled in that moment.
You know,
I 100% believe that.
And again, I want to hear from you guys out there too. 49451, text us here at the station. Let us know your opinion on the Micheal Bennett situation. I've been profiled countless amount of times. I can tell you that right off the bat. And the thing about me, and I won't even go into full details of it, but I was profiled at one point to where I was actually arrested, and the officer, didn't have a charge to charge me with. There was a fight inside of this restaurant, and we left. Like, we weren't involved. We didn't tear anything in the restaurant up. We ran out of the restaurant and left, right? And so I seen the officers coming back, and I said, hey, I should maybe go back and let the officers know what happened, so the people that are still in there don't say, hey, those guys were involved in this fight, and they left.
Yeah.
So when I went back to talk to the officer, he immediately placed me under arrest.
Oh.
And when they found out that I wasn't involved in the fight, they didn't have anything to charge me with, so they charged me with obstructing justice, obstructing the officer from doing his job because I went to grab him to tell him what happened. So here's the thing that happened. Just like you, on your bicycle, you got a ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go through this whole process where I had to get bailed out of jail.
Yeah.
In front of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I had to hire an attorney, go to court, go to trial, and I won a case, and it literally took 3 minutes for the jury to say this is the dumbest case we've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, if you can't afford justice, I was able to afford an attorney at that time.
Right.
If I couldn't afford an attorney, guess what? I'm in prison now, or I got a record for something that I didn't really even do.
Sure.
So that's the other question. So what happens in a situation like this with Micheal Bennett when it's not Micheal Bennett, when it's Michael Jefferson, just a guy that doesn't have any money, he's not famous, he doesn't play professional football, and he's at the nightclub or at the casino, and he gets slammed on the ground, and he gets the cuffs put on him, and he can't, there's no explanation of why he was running.
That's exactly what struck me was when he wrote, well, once they found out who I was, and Micheal Bennett, the professional athlete, Micheal Bennett, the football player, the Pro Bowl defensive end, I don't know exact words, but something along those lines, and they let me go. Well, what if he's not Micheal Bennett? And that's what you just said. How far does the process go if he is just anybody right. out on the street that happened to be in that situation? Fortunately for him, he is who he is, and they finally recognize that. But I don't know how far that process goes. Does he become arrested? Does he go through the process?
I would imagine he probably would. I would imagine he would, because they're just not going to let you go at that point. Just say, oh, we made a mistake. They're going to take you down and find out who you are, find out if you have a record, find out if you have warrants, and do all that stuff. But if you're Micheal Bennett, in that situation, they will give you the benefit of the doubt because you're rich and famous. You can afford an attorney. You can afford to defend yourself. You can afford to get yourself out of jail. So I don't know. I don't want to just berate the entire legal system, because I know the majority of people in law enforcement and in the judicial system are good. But I know there are some people. Yeah, absolutely.
It's important to say.
Absolutely.
There are so many police officers who get into law enforcement to help. They want to be a benefit to their community, and they do a tremendous job. And when we talk about racism and it comes to police force, it's not always about hatred in somebody's heart, malice in somebody's heart, and having an axe to grind or an agenda. Not everybody is the LAPD, and you talk about the police officer, right? In the O.J. Simpson, in the O.J. Simpson case. Not everybody's Mark Furman. But when you talk about racism and these incidents with the police, a lot of the time, preconceived notions that you have, whether you even know it or not, and some of it could even
might not even know you have
subconscious, but preconceived notions leading some police officers to take actions with black people that they wouldn't normally take with white people, or make assumptions with black people that they wouldn't make with white people. And that's where the issue is. And that's where it comes to education and a lot of self-reflection and taking measures in these individual precincts, in these communities, to educate these police officers on this is what's happening. This is how you can adjust maybe the way you're looking at these situations in high stress and sometimes dangerous situations.
Yes,
and I get that.
Absolutely.
But too many people's lives are affected by this negatively, and too many people's lives are being taken unnecessarily because of some of these preconceived notions.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people, and as we go to break here, a lot of people, I've heard it all day, and I'm hearing it right now, Just let the facts play out. Let's see, wait till we see the full tape. We don't know what happened 5 minutes before the video started. Well, I tell you what, the Las Vegas Police Department had a press conference earlier this afternoon where they released 5 minutes of footage. Well, guess what? The officer that did the arresting, his body cam was disabled. For some strange reason, his body cam was disabled.
Which seems to be what we always hear in these situations.
So that is the reason why these guys are taking a seat and why they're kneeling. And so just to let you guys know, this is probably not the last conversation we're going to have about this. It's a very heated conversation that we have, very emotionally charged. But we have to have it, guys. We must have it, and we're going to be respectful about it and respect everybody that's involved in it and try to do it the best way we can. Hey, when we come back, though, college football is back, and we're going to talk about it. We definitely going to talk about it. It's the Barbershop here on Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Is the right fit for anyone with a full schedule but appreciates a clean vehicle. Whether you're going to practice, going to close a deal, or just out on date night, a dirty car will only slow you down. True Fine Auto Detail was trusted by my hometown Seattle Seahawks to keep their cars in Pro Bowl shape. And you should too. Go ahead and book today at TrueFineAutoDetail.com.
Now back to the Barbershop, brought to you by Trufant Auto Detail and by the Trufant Family Foundation on Seattle Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Welcome back to the Barbershop Show here on Sports Radio 950 KJR. It's me, T. Holla. Marcus Trufant is out of town in Las Vegas at the Storage Unit Convention.
You think they get up for that, dressed up for that, like they do, like Comic-Cons and stuff like that?
I wonder if they do.
Yeah.
I mean,
what would you wear to a storage unit convention?
Probably like, you ever seen somebody that works at the storage unit, like at the front desk?
They're getting kind of a polo, maybe some like UPS type
Maybe
shorts.
some Dr. Scholl shoes or something like that.
Yeah.
To make you just real comfortable. I don't know, man. That doesn't fit you. Hey, I am here with Slickhawk, the one and only. Thank you for joining me. We're here tonight, man. Appreciate you hanging out in the barbershop with me. We've been having some really good conversations, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback from you guys, too. Thank you for all your input. 49451, we want to hear from you guys. We are going to do Holla Holla tonight. And that segment is where you guys are able to ask us any question that's on your mind. It doesn't matter what it is. Sports related, current events related, politics, or maybe we'll do that too if you got them. Whatever it is, what's on your mind, we're going to answer it tonight. Hit us up, 49451. We want to hear from you guys. Slickhawk, guess what time it is, man?
Well, I know it's hump day. I don't know what time.
It's hump day.
Well, it's about 7:31. Well, I know we're 22 hours now away from NFL football.
Yes, we are. But that wasn't what I was thinking. Okay, I love professional football. This is going to take me to one of the questions I have.
Okay.
But we are in college football time, baby. College football time, man.
I tell you what, Saturday, I got up at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I parked it on the couch, and I started watching college football, and I didn't really stop. Until the end of the Washington State game.
Well, you know what's funny? I laughed at that, but it's not really that funny because this is what happened. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to our show last week. Either of you guys that are listening right now listened to the show last Wednesday. But the week before, I injured myself playing flag football. Like, badly injured myself. Yeah. Like,
You all right?
I'm okay. I'm doing okay-ish now.
You're walking around okay.
I am, and the reason why is because, and we discussed it in depth on the show last week, is because I've been heavily medicated. I've been heavily medicated, to say the least, baby.
All right.
But no, I didn't do that kind of medication, baby. No Snoop Dogg. I didn't go Snoop Dogg meds. I actually went to the hospital. I went to the urgent care and, had the x-rays and the CAT scan to make sure everything was. I was playing with professional athletes. I played with Marcus Trufant, his brother Isaiah, Sidney Rice, Rod Jones. It was just like 6 to 7 NFL guys, and I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Ended up hurting myself pretty badly. But my point in saying that is I couldn't walk. Saturday, what I did is I had a recliner.
Mm-hmm.
I put that joker on all the way full tilt.
Yes.
I had some snacks on my left, drink on my right, and ice bags on my leg, and I watched football all day.
That's great. Football. I mean, if you're gonna have to recover, that's a great day. I mean, the first Saturday of college football season, If you're gonna choose a day, that's a good day.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. So when the season, sometimes the season starts and it's a little bit. I'll be honest. Sometimes it's lackluster on day one. A lot of times you get these big juggernaut colleges like Alabama, USC, Clemson, or whatever, and they usually play Mississippi Valley Southwestern Tech, School of the Nuns, and they drive them into the ground, and it's really not that entertaining, right? But for whatever reason, week one has some balling ass games.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, of all the games you watched, I don't know which ones you watched. You had the Virginia, West Virginia, A&M, UCLA, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech. Which game did you look at and you were like, holy smokes, this is, man, it's back?
Well, the game, when I was watching USC, and I think it was Western Michigan, I mean, I was watching that thing, and Western Michigan, I mean, it looked like they had a chance. Every time USC would score, they would score right back. You know, a kick return for a touchdown. They would give it right back to them. They're moving the ball very well. I thought I was rooting for it. You were rooting for
USC to lose?
I love the chaos, man. I love the chaos, and I was rooting for it. But USC pulled away at the very end. So, but that watching that game and all that unfold, like I really got that taste.
So here's the thing. So a couple things, and I watched a little bit of that game. So the thing about Western Michigan is, and I didn't notice, I was expecting USC to come out and beat them like a drum.
Sure.
Because when you put that, and I'm going to sound really biased right here, so if you guys, please don't text me with your bad thoughts because this is just my opinion. Usually when you get a college and its name starts with a direction, it's not going to be good. Like you got USC versus Western Michigan, UW versus Eastern Kentucky, or you know what I'm saying? That's
even
usually
Eastern Washington.
Even Eastern Washington. I didn't want to say it because somebody might be listening,
I
but you know what I'm saying.
But it is what it is.
But Western Michigan is good.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm trying to say, and this is my point. What I was leading to, a lot of those schools now that have a direction in front of it, they're starting to get good. And I don't know what it is, what we can attribute this, the parity to, why some of these smaller schools are starting to be able to compete with some of these bigger schools. But I'm noticing it that a lot more frequently than I used to. Like Western Michigan is actually a very good team. I think they went 13-0 last year.
Their coaching is getting better. I mean, this country gets more and more athletic every year. And so, yeah, those things. And then, you've got USC players, which is one of the premium programs in the country. Of course, you're going to have the top players leaving early. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is an example. I believe he left a year early. So you're not getting the full 4 years out of some of these guys that you bring in. And so that brings down the level of competition a little bit. Now, it's week 1, too. These guys, they don't have a preseason. You get thrown right into it. And so it's just right from training camp and practice into, boom, here's a game. And so all the wrinkles might not be ironed out yet. So you kind of catch them on a day there. And, it's kind of a perfect storm and a recipe for what could be an upset.
Right. And a lot of these big schools like USC and even UW to an extent, we'll talk about it here in a second, is you probably don't want to come out in week 1 and show everything you got. I can imagine that USC probably has half of their playbook at least left still in the playbook that they didn't show Western Michigan, because they didn't think they were going to have to compete against Western Michigan. They're thinking ahead. I'm going to have to play against Stanford. I'm going to have to play against UW. I'm going to have to play against Oregon.
Right.
And so they don't want to show their hand too soon. One more good I want to bring up about that USC game. If you guys did not get an opportunity to see it, it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It was at the end of the game when USC had the victory sewn up. They had scored a last-minute touchdown, and they brought in a guy to long snap for the extra point. And he's blind.
Yeah.
The kid was blind, and they let him. It was a successful snap. And I just think that's one of the coolest things. That's one of the coolest things I love about college football, man. You get an opportunity to do things like that, and a kid is able to, hang his hat on that forever.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was unbelievable. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Now, here's something that I would probably never, ever, ever, ever do on this show. Never done it before. Probably will never do it again until you come on with me again. I'm going to have a moment where not even me, I'm going to allow you to talk about Oregon football.
Wow.
I just want to hear, because I know you are a huge Duck guy, man.
Yeah.
And we don't get to talk about the Ducks a lot on this radio station, and you're gonna get about 22 seconds. But they blew Southern Utah out. It was a blowout, 77-21. Yep. I want to know, in your opinion, is this the beginning of the Taggart era?
Well, I think so. I mean, he starts out game one and sets an Autzen Stadium record for the most points. So, you look at the Chip Kelly teams and offenses, and, yeah, they put up a lot of points beating up on weaker competition. That's all this was, but it never got that far out of control. So there's kind of a tip of the cap there for game one of the Willie Taggart era. This Oregon program, this iteration of it has been something that's been built on offense and speed, and this team still has those kinds of athletes at the running back, wide receiver position. Justin Herbert's a quarterback that has all the tools, and he can catapult himself to be one of the top few quarterbacks in the Pac-12. So he has that ability. It's the question's all about the defense. It's all about the defense, and so Jim Leavitt comes in. He was the defensive coordinator down in Colorado, kind of turned that program around defensively. We'll see where they're at. It's not going to be this year, but I think they could have a good year. I'm hoping for like an 8-5 season, a nice bowl game, and then go right back hopefully next year with their top recruiting class. It's the #1 recruiting class according to Scout.com.
Ooh.
So,
I did
come
see
in with that.
Yeah.
Come in with that and hopefully catapult themselves right back to the top of the Pac-12 North.
All right, well, we're done with the Ducks. Did you get a chance to see any of the Dogs play?
Yeah, I watched that whole game.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you what you think, because I'm gonna give you my interpretation of that game, because I've been waiting for 365 days for my guys, or probably not for opening day. I was a little lackluster to begin with. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I expected them to come out and drag Rutgers the way they drug them last year. Right. I was fully expecting it. And they came out and the offense sputtered. The defense wasn't able to stop them in a manner that I was expecting them to stop them. And I don't know what I want to attribute that to at first, other than the fact that in hindsight, Rutgers was actually a way better team than they expected. I think UW was not prepared for them to be as good as they were.
Yeah, they're an improved team. There's all the factors that we talked about with it being your first game for Washington, and so they came out a little sluggish. But no, Rutgers has improved. They moved the ball very well at times, and so I think that surprised Washington. So there are a lot of factors. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 16-point win. It's probably not the win that most Husky fans were looking for. But look, it's a win on the road, which whenever you do that, it doesn't matter who it's against. If you get a win on the road, that's
in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's always a good feeling. And it's just one game and it's done. And there are going to be a lot bigger games coming up. When they look at the end of the season, when the committee looks at things, they're going to look at it as a W. So
they moved up. They moved up from 8 to 7, and so I'm happy about that. Again, walking away from this game, there was a lot of things I was actually pleased with. At the end of the day, I was pleased to see Dante Pettis step up and become a true #1 receiver. Last year, he was kind of playing, I don't want to say in the shadows of John Ross, but he was. I mean, John Ross was out of this world. He was incredible. And Dante Pettis was just a guy that came up and made some incredible catches, incredible touchdowns. You thought of him as the punt returner. And he proved himself to be that and more this past weekend. Yeah. We got a chance to see Myles Gaskin catch some good balls out of the backfield, show he has some incredible hands. You saw some guys in the defense step up in the roles that they weren't accustomed to last year. Young guys in the secondary filling in for where Buda Baker was, and some of those other DBs that departed for the NFL. And, of course, we are missing an All-American middle linebacker in there who was serving a one-game suspension in Azim Victor. So we'll get him back this week. I'm really excited about these Huskies and see what they're going to do this week against a talented Montana.
The Grizz.
The Grizz.
The Grizz.
Yeah.
The Grizz.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for those guys in the doghouse. Hey, when we come back, though, we are going to do Holla Holla. We're going to get your questions and answer them. We don't care what they are. Text us here at the station, 49451. What's on your mind? T. Holla and Slickhawk are going to answer it for you tonight. Only in the Barbershop on 950 KJR.
The Trufant Family Foundation is dedicated to enriching the community by empowering the youth to excel both in academics and sports. Created by me, Marcus Trufant, in 2003, we have helped hundreds of kids in the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Our mission is simple. Let's make dreams come true for the disadvantaged children in our area. We believe all children deserve a chance to achieve greatness. For more information or to donate, head over to Trufant Family.
Now back to the Barbershop, brought to you by Trufant Auto Detail and by the Trufant Family Foundation on Seattle Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Nathaniel, you hit us with the Michael Jackson?
You gotta do this.
Uh-oh. I see you guys should see Slickhawk getting the Michael Jackson in the chair.
That's talent right there.
And Slickhawk, are you okay? Welcome back to the Barbershop Show here on Sports Radio 950 KJR. We are okay. Annie, we are okay. We're having an incredible show so far. Thank you guys for being here with us and hanging out for the whole time. I know you've been sitting in your car for like the last 2 hours just listening to us, or just hanging out by that one transistor radio in your garage, just waiting.
People still have those?
I think I got one.
Oh, really?
I got a wind-up radio,
Nice.
just for emergencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
never know.
You just never know.
That's
so
true.
yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hey, we are about to wind it up, but before we do, we want to take your questions. Any question that you might have that's on your mind, Slickhawk and I are going to do our best to answer it in only the way that you can get that answer in the barbershop. And it's during this segment that we call Holla Holla with True and T Holla, but True's not here. So it's Holla Holla with Slick and T Holla.
All right.
Holla, holla. Anybody that's ready to get dollars, dollars. Ladies know who to get them a little hotter, hotter. Come on, if you rollin' with me, follow, follow. It's murder.
Nathaniel!
Yes, sir.
Nathaniel!
We gotta play the thing that's from, because I don't know what that's from.
Nathaniel! What's the first question we got, brother?
All right, so we got one from Doppler Martin.
Okay.
That's a different name. I never heard that one.
Doppler, is he a weatherman?
I don't know. That's his name. Though. He asks, happy or sad for Kaysen Williams, who got cut by the Seattle Seahawks, now a Cleveland Brown.
Ah, man, it's a catch-22 for me, man. I'm really happy that he's on the team. He's able to play the game that he loves, because, he's had a long, hard road, man. Yeah. He hurt himself in a major way in college that really set him back, because he was on a trajectory, man, to be one of the greats, in my opinion. He came out of high school as the best player in the country at high school football.
Right.
And, the injury set him back, and he looked like he was, back in form this year. So I won't say I'm happy for him.
Sad. 100% sad. He was going with the preseason he turned in. He was going to be on an NFL roster somewhere. Yeah, I thought it should have been this one. A lot of people feel that way too. Unfortunately, it wasn't. So you go from the penthouse to the outhouse. Now he's in Cleveland.
I feel like the thing about Cleveland that people get wrong is that team is not the dumpster fire it's been. Like they're on the rise. They got Myles Garrett. There's some good players coming there.
What was their record last year?
I understand it was a bad record, but I'm saying that's a team that's rebuilding. They have a talented quarterback in Deshaun Kaiser.
I believe it was Jimmy Johnson who said, "You are what your record says you are."
What else you got, Nathaniel?
All right. So what pisses people off more? The lack of raisins in Raisin Bran, or the lack of marshmallows and Lucky Charms?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. Slick, I'm going to let you go first, man.
Look, 2 scoops is never enough.
No!
Never enough. You know what? If I got my Raisin Bran, you got the kind of Wheaties type stuff in there, but I want a good amount of raisins in my Raisin Bran.
Oh, I agree 100%, man. Listen, if I have a box of Raisin Bran and we get to close to the bottom of the box and there's more bran than raisin, it's gone. I'm not eating that.
Right.
It's going out the window.
Right.
And when you have the Lucky Charms, if the marshmallows are gone, you still got the sugary, crunchy crunchies, and so it's still a good cereal.
They're magically delicious. What I want to try these Baldwin Smacks.
Oh, yeah,
Have you tried those yet?
I saw them in the grocery store the other day. Yes, Baldwin Smacks.
Dougie has his own breakfast cereal.
He does. It's big. I think you've officially made it when you either have your own lunchbox or your own breakfast cereal. Like Mr. T,
shaking his head because he can't remember the last time the 49ers had a player worthy of their own breakfast cereal. Next.
Hey, Tanya!
Damn. Wow. Are you prepared to deal with a natural disaster at your house? If not, when will you begin to? If you because they got some crazy stuff going on.
Yes, you're right. Because it is the end is coming, right? What I said at the beginning of the show.
Right.
It's the end of the world as we know it. I just said that, didn't I? A second ago, I have a transistor radio. You can wind up and play.
Yeah.
Like, if in case I want to hear the emergency network, whatever, you know, when you hear that. This is an emergency network message. Your ass is gone. Just kiss it goodbye.
I am prepared because I have two types of alcohol in my house. I have the type that you drink chilled. I have the type that you drink at room temperature. So either way, no matter what the natural disaster is, I can approach it and handle it with the proper brevity.
So all I need is a bicycle then, so that I can ride over to Slickhawk house.
Come on over.
Yeah.
Because he has all the provisions.
Where the party's at.
Nathaniel, what else you got, man?
All right. So what do you think of that new Seahawks logo? You know, the one that looks like the dude from the Muppets?
The alternate logo?
It is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And I don't care if you want to call me a 49er fan or anything. That thing is ugly.
I don't want to call you a 49er fan. Honestly, I wish you were something else, but I guess you are what you are. Look, I mean, it's growing on me. It's growing on me. I saw it at first. When it's just by itself, it's a little much. When you actually see it on a hat or on a T-shirt or whatever, it's growing on. I kind of like it.
It's ugly, man. It's ugly, man. I'm sorry. The thing is ugly. It looks like an ostrich or an emu or something, like looking straight at you, like
it's the Seahawk logo, just
looking
facing
straight
you in
at
3D.
you.
Look,
it makes me uncomfortable. I feel like it's looking at me wherever I go in the room. Like, stop looking at me, Seahawk. Stop looking at me.
I
I'm
wish
over
they
here now.
hadn't gotten rid of the last alternate logo. I loved that. The last alternate logo, you know, with the wings out and the talons and everything. That was great.
That was kind of spooky.
Yeah, I like it.
Slickhawk is the embodiment of a 12 sometimes. That you could show him a bird with a crooked beak and be like, yeah, sure, I like it. You
Put
know,
that on there,
Go
yeah.
Hawks, bro. Go Hawks.
What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with liking
Nothing wrong.
something.
Hey, listen, before we get out of here, I see one more on the text board I just got to answer real quick because it's going to make me think. Holla, holla. Who is your musical Mount Rushmore?
Oh, no.
That's heavy, right? That's heavy. I would have to put, of course, Tupac, Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
John Lennon.
Ooh.
Dang, who else would I put up there? Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
That's my Mount
That's
Rushmore.
a really good Mount. I don't even know.
It's deep, huh?
Yeah. Michael Jackson put him there 4 times. You know, that's it for me.
That's pretty solid. You can't go wrong with 4 Michael Jacksons. You can see, you can even put it at like baby Michael Jackson when he first started singing.
Yeah.
You can put it at wide nose, dark skin Michael Jackson.
Right.
And you can put it at
like mid range.
Yeah. Beat It Michael Jackson and ghostly white Michael Jackson.
And then you got Free the Willy Michael Jackson. Free Willy. Michael Jackson.
We going, you know, we're going to hell with that one, man. Hey, listen.
It's going to be the chill drinks tonight.
Thank you guys for joining us here in the Barbershop. We will be back next Wednesday. Actually, we'll be coming to you live from Snoqualmie Casino. So if you got an opportunity to come down, join us, hang out with me and True at the casino and waste some money. Hey, until then, it's the Barbershop here on 950 KJR.
This is Marcus Trufant for Iron Horse Casino in Auburn. I want to invite you and your friends to join us at the South End's best entertainment location. With over $200,000 in jackpots on our table games, we are your neighborhood casino. Join us on Saturdays for a chance to win $500 every Saturday at 2 p.m. and at 10 p.m. Also, you can win a Harley-Davidson or $10,000 cash. For more information, go to ironhorsecasinos.com.